Stopping heroin sometimes starts with another type of drug. From first responders to lawmakers, will detail Alaska's efforts to help addicts.
Purse is holding like this. She's purse is like this holding. Right away take out gun and give me the money.
When someone tries to steal from her shop, this woman doesn't back down. The incredible story of how she stopped an alleged thief. And going to court may get a bit more difficult. We'll explain why.
You're watching KTUU, Channel 2, Anchorage, Alaska's news source. And now, the 5 o'clock report with Rebecca Paulson.
I decided to mobilize all the available forces and law enforcement so that we can apprehend the terrorist and that we can secure all the areas that might be targeted.
Good evening. The president of France has declared a state of emergency after dozens of people were killed and hostage taken in a series of attacks in Paris. We get the update tonight from NBC's Barry Arendt.
Deaths in Paris after a shootout at a Paris restaurant and an explosion at a bar near a Paris stadium. There is also a report of a hostage situation at a theater. The French news channel BFM TV reported the hostage situation started with a shooting 1 hour into a concert. BFM TV said several people came into the theater and began shooting in the air. A police official said 11 people were killed at a Paris restaurant in the 10th district. The restaurant is located in a neighborhood near the Charlie Hebdo offices. You could hear the explosion during the France-Germany soccer game, although the game went on. Later, the stadium was being evacuated section by section, and people stood on the field and got news updates on their cell phones. President Obama said the U.S. stands with France in the fight against terrorism.
We're going to do whatever it takes to work with the French people and with nations around the world to bring these terrorists to justice.
The attacks came before a major climate conference that has caused heightened security. Barry Arendt, NBC News.
Across the globe, fear and uncertainty surround family and friends of people who currently live in Paris. Some still don't know if their loved ones are victims. Channel 2's Maria Downey joins us to share what one Alaska family is going through tonight. Maria.
Rebecca, an Eagle River family has been on edge since hearing about the attack, since their daughter, Stephanie Hoger, is over in Paris. But we talked with Stephanie, and she's okay.
I'm really close to where it actually happened, so it's just crazy. It's been chaos for the last 3 hours.
A frightening time for this Alaskan in Paris. Hoger is attending the Le Cordon Bleu cooking school. She told us the ongoing attacks at the concert hall is just a 20-minute walk from her apartment. Everyone is being told to stay away from the area, and the government is ordering people to stay inside their homes if possible. While her family is relieved that she was not injured in any of the attacks, it's still a concern because the situation has not yet been resolved. And Rebecca Keslinhatch is now out in Eagle River talking to Stephanie's family. For the latest on the Paris attacks, go to our website, KTUU.com, and click on the breaking news banner at the top of the homepage.
All right, thanks a lot, Maria. NBC Nightly News will continue to work the latest developments coming out of Paris when it airs tonight at 5:30 here on Channel 2. A woman faced a judge today accused of robbing 3 businesses at gunpoint in the past 2 months. Anchorage police say 33-year-old Tanya Holler was arrested last night after attempting to rob a smoke shop off Minnesota. She was also accused of robbing 2 other coffee shops, one off Arctic and the other at West 32nd Avenue. Channel 2's Samantha Nguyen joins us live outside of a nearby business that was robbed last Friday. And Samantha, what did these robberies have in common?
Well, Rebecca, the owner of Aftershock Espresso says it was just before 6, right around closing time here, when a woman walked up to the door, held an employee at gunpoint and demanded money. The owner of Smoke for Less shop says the woman approached her store close to 7 in the evening. Earlier this week, Aftershock Espresso told Channel 2 the robber was caught on security camera. The woman came into the shop Friday evening after the employee took the garbage out, demanded money, phones, and the employee's paycheck. Police say Holler was arrested 6 days later after Young Jun, the owner of Smoke for Less, physically took the gun and large hunting knife from her and pinned her down and had the help of another person before police arrived. Holler appeared in court today on charges of robbery, assault, and theft.
Well, geez, that's just amazing, Samantha. A lot of people, don't typically think to tackle someone holding a gun.
Right.
Did June say if she had any sort of self-defense training?
Well, Jen told me earlier today that her husband teaches Taekwondo and did that for about 8 years, and she picked up a lot of self-defense techniques from watching him teach her children how to defend themselves. Now, we also did hear from an employee of Kodiak Cup who was also held at gunpoint. We'll hear her reactions tonight on the NewsHour. Rebecca, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Samantha. A robbery of a home in Spenard ends shortly after it begins. Police responded just after 8 in the morning to reports of an attempted home invasion at the 1000 block of Essex Circle. Police say a suspect pepper sprayed the homeowner when he opened the door. The homeowner was armed and shot the intruder. The suspects drove away. Police say because of conflicting witness statements, they are not sure how many people were involved in the attempted home invasion. Now, aside from the pepper spray, the homeowner is okay. Well, another chilly but sunny day. Jackie, what's the weekend going to be like?
Well, we're going to continue to see clear skies, and that'll take us right out of the work week into the weekend, and not to mention those colder temperatures that will come our way as well. So here we are with clear skies and a colder feel to the days, and just for your evenings, we'll see temperatures 0 to 10 below, and these overnight lows are more so for the east side of town. Valdez City and Thompson Pass seeing some strong winds. In town, it hit gusts of 63 miles per hour. Here's a beautiful shot from our Glen Alps Tower cam of Denali and 4 Acre. We're currently at 16 degrees, and winds are out of the southeast at 3 miles per hour at the airport. More on the forecast as we head into our weekend coming up a little bit later.
All right, thanks a lot, Jackie. When we come back, not just an Anchorage problem, how heroin affects people throughout Alaska, and what is underway to combat the epidemic. And courts in Anchorage could see a change in the coming year, why Fridays may soon not be a good day to go to court. In business news, the stock market has its worst week since August. The dismal week broke a 6-week stretch of gains. Here's a look at the closing numbers.
You're watching Channel 2 News, the 5 o'clock report with Rebecca Paulson.
Heroin is becoming an epidemic in Anchorage and across the state, and one Anchorage lawmaker is trying to find a solution. As Channel 2's Patrick Enzo tells us, it means making another drug more available. Patrick.
Rebecca, that drug is naloxone, also known as Narcan, and has been used by paramedics for years as an antidote for heroin overdose. State Senator Ellis says his Senate Bill 29 will make it available through prescription. Currently, the bill has gone through the Senate and will be heard in the House next session. Ellis says his bill would protect doctors from any liability from providing the drug. Last year, the legislature passed the Good Samaritan bill, which protects first responders from any prosecution for decisions made in good judgment. An example of this would be giving a patient Narcan if they were overdosing on heroin or painkillers.
So Patrick, explain to us a little bit about what does Narcan do?
Rebecca, I spoke with the Anchorage Fire Department today, and they says it reverses the effects of heroin and helps those who overdose on the drug to breathe again. Firefighters say they either administer it through the drug through an IV or basically a nasal spray.
All right, thanks a lot, Patrick. Well, after an overdose, an addict may realize they need help. Farina Brown is the regional clinical director for Aquila, a behavioral health program that helps people struggling with substance abuse. And of course, what trends have you seen over the years for people coming in for help with heroin?
Well, typically what we've seen lately is an increase in individuals between the ages of 18 and 24, particularly male, who are coming in seeking treatment for heroin addiction. A part of that, what we really kind of attribute that to, is an increase in affordability and availability of prescription medications, which after some time, you have individuals who lose the ability to afford buying maybe Oxycontin or Vicodins, and they go to what's a cheaper and easier high, which would be heroin.
Oh, wow. And recently we hear a lot about spice. Is that pushing heroin into the back burner?
For right now, it is. What we've seen right now is that with Spice, there's been a extreme utilization of emergency services, ambulance services, and ER services. So typically, that's drawn the spotlight. But heroin remains a prominent issue in the South Central community, and just because the spotlight is not there doesn't mean that we're not still treating and seeing those problems.
Now, when it comes to heroin, how does Aquila determine what resources a person needs?
Well, what we do, everything starts with assessment. We like to provide an open door. Once they walk in, we provide what is it that you need. We start with assessment, and from there we try to target the level of treatment that they need. We understand that it's not just your typical addict on the street. Addiction cuts across socioeconomic boundaries, so we look at and custom and tailor treatment for their needs.
You know, when you talk about heroin kind of spread across all types of different people, so heroin users come from all different backgrounds and positions in life. What do you think is the biggest barrier from getting people help?
Well, one of the barriers is just acknowledging the addiction. Addiction is looked down on, so no one is comfortable saying, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. And keeping that secret is what creates that ongoing problem to the point where now that I'm forced into treatment. But if we can provide that education and an open door and encourage people to come in before they're that stereotypical addict that you see on the street, to say, what is it that we can do for you now while you're still functional?
All right, it's very helpful information. Thanks a lot for being here tonight.
Thank you.
The Alaska Gas Line Development Corporation is reassessing the role of a consultant as his contract comes to an end. A spokesman for AGDC says the corporation needs to reevaluate Rigdon Boykin's role. This is happening because of the pending transfer of TransCanada's interest in the LNG pipeline. Boykin's termination date has been extended twice since he was hired in May. His contract will be up at the end of December. The tightening state budget and fears of what could happen next year is having an impact on many parts of state government. Now, while the court system faced a much smaller cut than many departments when the budget was set earlier this year, there will be noticeable impacts on our justice system. Channel 2's Austin Baird tells us why.
Well, Rebecca, like just about everything else in the state government these days, there have recently been cost-saving measures that went into effect that are going to have a big impact on courts, including the one behind me here in downtown Anchorage. The biggest immediate impact is the closure of all courts the day after Thanksgiving and on Christmas Eve. Only emergency hearings will be held those days, saving the system an estimated $500,000. Vacant positions have also been kept open, and more will be next year, according to the court system's budget director. Depending how the budget cycle goes, the tentative plan is to start closing all courts on Fridays at noon, except for emergency hearings. That would start July 1st next year. The idea is to give clerks more time to catch up on their workload since they could be understaffed. The court system makes up just a little over 1% of state government, about $114 million out of more than $5 billion overall.
So, of course, Austin, aside from potentially slowing down the process and affecting court employees, how will we be impacted?
Well, there's one way some people may have already noticed. There have been increased fees, court fees, for the first time in 12 years. The Alaska Supreme Court decided that earlier this year. All sorts of fees went up, whether it's divorces, civil filings, will deposits, making some types of copies, and so on. Rebecca?
And of course, Austin, is separate from this issue. There was some news out of the Supreme Court today. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. The application period ended for Supreme Court justices, people who want to become the replacement for Chief Justice Dana Fabe, who is retiring. And 8 people applied, including Superior Court judges and also some private attorneys. The Alaska Judicial Council is going to review all of the applications and then make recommendations to Governor Bill Walker, who will pick from the pool that is handed to him by the council. Rebecca?
I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that. Thanks a lot, Austin. Months after a series of landslides in Sitka, the City Assembly wants legal advice to settle liability issues. The city administrator says a Seattle law firm is helping the city with possible lawsuits related to the slide. It is also giving advice on new ordinance the city can put in place related to land planning processes. Geotechnical experts are also examining the landslide area to identify potential risks. The city can then inform property owners of necessary steps to reduce those risks. The holiday season is almost here, and some people are already preparing for Thanksgiving. How you can help people who don't have much have a happy holiday. And the cold can't keep those beautiful mountains hidden. Jackie will share what temperatures we can expect if you want to enjoy being outside this weekend. With Thanksgiving less than 2 weeks away, the Food Bank of Alaska is getting ready to give groceries for an entire Thanksgiving meal to more than 10,000 families. Volunteers were bagging apples this afternoon at the organization's warehouse in Anchorage.
We put one at a time into 10 bags, so we get roughly 5 pounds. And they're going to the community next week.
The food bank will distribute the Thanksgiving Blessin' grocery packages in both Anchorage and the Valley. The Valley distribution is Saturday, November 21st. The one in Anchorage is Monday, November 23rd. For more information on the food bank's Thanksgiving Blessing, visit KTUU.com. Also looking for help for Thanksgiving, Beans Cafe. The nonprofit wants donations for a traditional turkey meal that includes stuffing, store-bought pies, fresh fruit, and paper dining plates and things for like that. You can drop off donations at the cafe at 1101 East 3rd Avenue or at the Tasty Freeze on Raspberry Road. Well, we're certainly feeling the freeze here, Jackie. Will we see any snow maybe? That'd be kind of nice to enjoy these temperatures.
It looks as though we're going to continue to see some clear skies here in the Anchorage area. Let's check out some of our conditions here across the south central area. We're looking at a few in the way of clouds, and that could actually present some snow showers into the Copper River Delta area. Here's a look at the Anchorage area, and really check out Denali and 4 Acre. Yes, very apparent. Nice to see such a clear view off to our north. Here's a look at the current temperatures in Anchorage. We're down to 5 degrees. That at Eagle River, 16 degrees from the hillside, but teen temperatures around town, and we may even struggle to hit those upper teens tomorrow as clear, cold nights and bright days continue. And we'll see a slow warm up that begins not until next Wednesday. So, hey, have a good weekend, everyone, but bundle up. We'll see a good offshore flow across not only southwest Alaska, but south central Alaska. You can still pick up that circulation. It is presenting some precipitation into the panhandle. We have some light snow occurring across portions of Nome just in the last hour, and precipitation again, mostly rain, but they could even see some isolated thunderstorms in the panhandle tonight. 22 for your high temperature, 8 for your low. That puts us below average readings for this time of year. Nothing in the way of precipitation measurable here in the Anchorage area. It's 3 above in Fairbanks, but we have single digits also reported out of Kotzebue, McGrath, Northway right at 0, Juneau 37 degrees in their last hour, and sub-zero temperatures along the Arctic slope. Back into the south central area, we've seen those single-digit temperatures show up. It's going to be a cold one, especially for your overnights here in the next couple of nights. But with clear skies, you know who's going to be out and about. That will be aurora lovers. So there's a chance. Low on the horizon, moderate activity. Here's a look at the forecast. They'll see increasing clouds as a low drops down out of the Arctic for much of southwest Alaska, sections of the Aleutians. High pressure building into the interior. It will keep us on the cold side, and there's that area of low pressure just staying well to the south and continuing to sag southward. Back into south central, it's brisk highs but bright days. Gusty winds out of the north, 20 to 45 miles per hour out of Seward. The Copper River Delta could also see winds 25 to 45 miles per hour. And still through Kodiak Island, look for gusts out of the northwest, anywhere from 25 to as much as 50 miles per hour. So continued clear and cold across the Matanuska-Susitna Valley, as well as the Kenai Peninsula. Tonight into the Anchorage area, we're looking at lows 5 to 10 degrees, but really 0 to -5 around the east side of town. That's right, listen up. Here, Mr. Moose, is your forecast. 14 degrees with some sunshine. As I said, it will probably be a big struggle to even get to 20 degrees, but teen temperatures for highs over the next several days. We keep the sunshine as we head into and out of the weekend. A slight and slow warm-up coming our way starting late on Wednesday, Rebecca, but have a good, safe weekend. It's going to be a bright one.
Sounds nice. Thanks a lot, Jackie. The Seawolf hockey team opens a home series tonight. Kevin Wells is here to talk about it.
Absolutely. The Seawolves and Bulldogs coming up shortly. We'll break down tonight's WCHA face-off. Plus, would you believe what Ali Ostrander did this time? That's coming up.
And now from Alaska's sports leader, here's Kevin Wells.
Coaches always wonder about the mental state of a team coming off a bye. In about an hour and a half, Matt Thomas will find out whether his Seawolves are flat or flat out awesome. UAA is all set to host Ferris State in tonight's WCHA series opener. Bulldogs 500 for the year and within conference play. They split with Minnesota State's Mankato last week. The Seawolves, meantime, good start so far. 5 wins in their first 8. Blake Tetchell, a forward to watch, posting 4 goals and 6 assists already. The visual proof coming up tonight at 10. And speaking of green and gold, it's also game night for the 7th-ranked women's basketball team against Dixie State. UAA's 5-0 in games that counts, but tonight and tomorrow the Seawolves will be facing West Region opponents. Little bit more emphasis is placed on those meetings. They'll get underway at 7 tonight in the Seawolves Auxiliary Gym. Meanwhile, the UAA men defeat regional foe Chaminade this afternoon in Fairbanks 92-90. Corey Hamill and Suki Wiggs each put in 24 points. Kenai grad Allie Ostrander claims the Division I West Regional Cross Country title, leaving an elite field of college runners in her wake. Ostrander completing the 6K course in just under 20 minutes, 10 seconds, about 20 seconds faster than the runner-up. The Alaska record holder in the 16 and 3200 meters moves on to the NCAA championship meet in Louisville, Kentucky next Saturday. At 6, an update on the state high school volleyball tournament, plus the Aces trail the Indy Fuel 3-2 at second intermission. Rebecca?
Thanks a lot, Kevin. The U.S. Capitol Christmas tree is a few weeks away from its new home in Washington, D.C., but who's in charge of making it sparkle when it arrives? We tell you after the break. Recapping tonight's top local stories, an Alaskan studying in Paris says she's okay after a string of terrorist attacks struck the French city tonight. Stephanie Hoger is attending the Le Cordon Bleu's cooking school in France. She says her apartment is really close to one of the attacks and has been, in quote, chaos for the last couple of hours. France has declared a state of emergency and the government is ordering people to stay inside of their homes. A woman accused of 3 robberies in the last 2 months faced a judge today. Tanya Holler allegedly robbed a smoke shop and 2 coffee shops. Last night, she was accused of pulling a knife on a worker at Smoke for Less shop. The owner grabbed the knife and held Holler until police arrived. Bail for the latest robbery was set at $25,000. Mike Ross joins us with a preview of a story coming up tonight on the NewsHour about the power of the written word. Mike.
And Rebecca, tonight at 6, using word power is exactly how Anna DeVald won the trip of a lifetime.
Alaskan Christmas trees are special because they are a symbol of Alaskan pride.
That's an excerpt from the 5th grader's essay about the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree from Alaska. And it's the reason she's going down to Washington, D.C. to turn on the tree's lights. Find out what inspired her entry coming up tonight on the NewsHour.
All right, thanks a lot, Mike. And thanks for joining us on the 5 o'clock report. NBC Nightly News starts in just a moment with coverage of the attacks in Paris. We leave you tonight with a live look at the city lights as the sun goes down. We'll see you back here at 6 for the NewsHour. Have a great night and a great weekend.